Welcome back to the JustBeCos podcast about all things life and cosplay. And welcome back, yes, it's your boy Jeremy. I'm back here again with another episode for you. This is the second episode with our special collaboration with Smash, where we're going to announce some really cool guests today. And as you would have realised from last week's, where we've already announced two wonderful guests, being both DJ Haru and Gale, who better than to help us announce the guests again for this week? You may have seen them around on TikTok before. Very dashing, very handsome, very chill, very charming. They've got a smile that'll light up the room. They've got a laugh that'll just make your ears swoon. Everybody, please make welcome. And please say hello, Gail, all the way from America.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So, Gail, this is your first time on a podcast. You're all the way in New York City, is that right?
Yep, New York City, that's right.
Fantastic. Look, for anybody who doesn't know who you are, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a cosplayer from Los Angeles originally, but then I moved to New York for college and sort of just began to cosplay, sort of like during quarantine era. There's like that big boom of cosplay, and ever since then I've just been focusing on bringing characters to life. I mainly go on TikTok. I love like the lip syncing, acting sort of performance aspect of it, but yeah, that's mainly what I've been doing, and it's just kind of been growing from there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's not something that you've been doing since day one. It's something that you've kind of picked up by the sounds of it during your college days. And are you still studying, or is cosplay the main focus at the moment?
I'm still in like university third year, so I've got this semester and then one more year, and then I'm done. So still very much in the thick of it.
So what are you studying at the moment for anybody listening?
I'm an illustration major and a writing minor, with a focus in like creative writing. So
Oh my gosh, so like the creative bone's always been there, you're just kind of channeling it to other avenues.
yeah,
Alright.
exactly. Yeah, I've always loved like storytelling stuff. So cosplay is like perfect for that too.
That's amazing. So how did you actually get into cosplay? Because it's not really something that, when we're in school or growing up, it's like, oh, you can play video games, you can play sports. And cosplay is not really one of those options that we just pick up off the shelf. So
Yeah.
what kind of drew you to it, and what made you aware of it, and what made you want to start?
Well, I always sort of grew up in like con culture because my parents both went to like San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah,
My
wow.
dad wrote for comics, so it has always been something that like I've been, I guess, aware of loosely. And my younger sister, was fascinated with cosplay, but she never did it herself. She would just like follow cosplayers, and I wanted to become closer with her. So like during quarantine, I started to cosplay like her favorite characters, and it worked. Like we're best friends now. Yeah, and now I cosplay all the time. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. So you guys cosplay together a lot?
We've only ever cosplayed together like twice. She doesn't really like to cosplay, but she loves seeing cosplays in general. So, yeah, I was like, I want to try that. That looks fun, and it's because of her. Yeah,
That's really sweet. Now, I took a little bit of a look at your profile on TikTok. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't just kind of shelved around, but some of your stuff is really good. The video obviously transitions that you've put together, and just the way that you've kind of built your audience from there. Is that something that you kind of expected to feel, your profile and your numbers to get that big, or is it something that kind of happened because you were just having fun with it?
Oh, not at all. I wasn't even. When I started posting on TikTok, I was not even posting for an audience in general. I was just sort of, making random things, and I wasn't expecting any of my cosplays to like blow up. And when they did, I just started to have fun with it. I didn't really think about, I guess, the numbers, and I still just try to have fun with it, which is something I've maintained, which feels very lucky. Yeah, I'm very grateful for it.
So just based on that, because it's something that you started not because you had an aim, or like, I want to get cosplay famous, or this is the thing that's gonna get me numbers or anything, but it's something that you did because, hey, look, this is fun, let's just keep doing it.
Yeah.
When was one of the first times that you feel like you started to get noticed, or people reached out to you for certain opportunities? Because obviously Smash has been in touch with you, and you're flying over to Australia later this year, which is really cool.
It's
But
crazy.
when was the first time that ball really kind of started to get rolling?
I would say my freshman year of college, so that's 2021, I believe.
Okay, so that was like your
I was
first year of uni or the year
yeah,
before
first
that?
year of
First
uni.
year. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I was very popular for my Leorio cosplay from Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah,
That's
right.
sort of like the thing that most people recognize me from. And I used to cosplay him like every night, and I'd post like 3 times a day. Like it
Wow.
was crazy posting schedule. And yeah, I started becoming recognized online for that, and through that, I got opportunities to like promote things on TikTok. Mainly, song promos, stuff like that. Some you know products and stuff. But yeah, I that's probably when it first started becoming like big, I
Yeah, right.
guess.
So when you did kind of start to, because 3 times a day to a lot of people sounds like, oh my god, how do I think up content like that? But this is obviously something
Yeah,
that you were doing just because, like, hey, I love this character, this is fun. I want to post this
yeah,
idea and this
exactly.
idea, and it wasn't with the objective of like, oh, I need to keep up the 3 a day. Oh, I have to do it.
Yeah,
No, it was just because you wanted
it's
to more than
crazy.
anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And just for those opportunities, the reason I ask this is because there's obviously a lot of people who cosplay and a lot of people who want to, get involved in the kind of things that you do. You're obviously someone that a lot of people look up to. And so with, these kinds of things that they probably ask as well, it's like, oh, cool, how do I get started on, doing something like that? Do I have to talk to other companies? Do I have to just wait till get noticed? How did those opportunities for you come about?
Oh, well, with my current agency and getting jobs now, I reached out to them first. So I think it really depends. You have to have a balance between finding like a niche that you're interested in,
Mm.
and committing to that niche, being passionate about it, and then also when you see opportunities to go and reach for them, like for example, going to cons. If you see a really cool cosplayer, talk to them, like figure out like they made their outfit or they made their cosplay, like ask them how they did it. Just I think conversations with people is the most important thing to sort of like get rolling in that. Yeah, sort of like establish that community to grow. Yeah,
That's really
that's what I
cool.
found.
That's really cool. I was having a chat with I think, another friend last week, and they said something similar. I go to a con to enjoy it and have fun, and I talk to people because they look cool, they
Yeah,
look interesting,
exactly.
and that's how the networking kind of starts. And it starts off with like, oh, I'm a cosplayer, and then this person says, oh, I work for this production business, and someone's like, oh, I actually run this
Mhm.
convention, and kind of through meeting people just because it's fun, you
Yeah,
get in touch with the right people. You,
exactly,
you actually
exactly.
mentioned something, and I only realised this very recently through recent emails. But you mentioned something about an agency before, and that is that like
Yes.
a cosplay agency or a modeling agency? What kind of agency is that one?
My current agency, it's called Geist. It's specifically for cosplay and cosplay influencing.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it is very focused on like uplifting the individual cosplayer, which I really appreciate
Mm.
because all of the promotional stuff is catered exactly to the cosplayer's needs, and it feels very rather than just being about like, hey, do this promo, do this thing, we're gonna make money. They genuinely care about just sort of making sure that we succeed, which I feel is very unique for a lot of agencies. Which it's been like very relieving. Yeah.
That's really cool. And for a lot of people who, I guess, who are kind of listening in, uh, if you don't know what an agency does, they could be anything from your managers to your marketers to your promoters. But for yourself, what's been your experience working with Geist or an agency versus working by yourself as an individual? Has it been like a better experience? Has it been less work? Has it been more work? Has it been expensive? What's your experience been like?
Well, by myself, when I first started off, I was afraid to ask for like money for promos.
Mm.
I didn't have a very secure sense of like how much my videos were worth. So having someone represent you, such as like an agency or having people reply to emails, it just sort of, I think, it makes you more confident in many ways because they can sort of represent you in those ways and make sure that you get different brands and deals that actually reflect your numbers or your work. So yeah, it's been a huge sort of weight off my shoulders. Yeah, I definitely appreciate all of their hard work for me. Yeah.
No, that's really cool. I think it's just having that expertise of somebody in the industry who kind of knows,
Oh, absolutely.
a lot more about approaching brands, or knowing how to make the deal, or kind of just knowing what you're worth and how to communicate that to the brand. So you're actually getting paid what you are worth, rather than, oh, have a free product. We'll pay you in
Yeah.
this free product kind of thing, right? That's really cool.
Exactly.
Now, I know that you mentioned you haven't been in cosplay since day one. It's not something that you said, this is my first hobby since I was 6 years old, and I've grown from there, and it's something you picked up a bit later. But you also mentioned as well, having the agency there has kind of helped you recognize, what you're worth. It's helped you grow your confidence in knowing who to approach, what to say, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have you always seen yourself as this, confident, approachable kind of person who was found it easy to talk to everybody, and that's just how you've been since childhood, or is that something you've also kind of grown into?
Oh no, I was always the shy kid. Yeah, I was always like the kid who sat alone, It was hard for me to make friends because I was chatty, but it was hard for me to reach out. I would sort of like have friends, but I would just listen to them, and so then we would just be like sitting in silence together. So I definitely didn't gain a lot of confidence until I started cosplaying.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, it's definitely been very beneficial in that regard, which I didn't expect at all. But it makes sense. You get to be another person for a little bit and learn more about yourself like through that. So,
Yeah, wow.
yeah.
So through the community, that's really cool to hear, and obviously that's something I think a lot of people who get into, the scene of just cosplay or video games, that's kind of our comfort zone, I suppose, because
Yeah.
we can live through those characters, through those stories. But since you've moved to New York, you've obviously been ingrained in the community around there with the local conventions, and seeing what other people there are like. Have you done many, I guess, convention experiences outside of America as of yet, or what's your kind of experiences with conventions been like so far?
Yeah, I've been to 3 cons outside of the US, and they've all been within like the past year.
Wow.
So I'm pretty new to like the international con scene. The first one was in London, and then the second one was in Paris, and then recently this past February it was in Vancouver in Canada.
Canada.
So,
What's
yeah.
been your, no shade thrown to any other conventions, but what's your favorite convention so far? What's your favorite experience?
Oh, I think for nostalgia reasons, it's AX Anime Expo in Los Angeles, because it's my home city, and it's always been sort of the con that I always wanted to go to as a kid. So when I was finally able to go, like on my own, it was incredible. Yeah.
That's really cool. What's the, okay? Because we have this discussion with a lot of people in Australia, because our convention
Yeah.
scene is very much, we've got per city, so Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, we've got 2, 3, maybe 4 conventions a year. And
Wow.
for Australians, we'll fly between cities to go to a hotel and go to the con and get dinner or something afterwards. But we've also heard that in America there are conventions that are sometimes in hotel conference rooms or something, so people just have a room in the same hotel where the con is, and then you go for drinks up in the room, or you go down to the bar, and it's just like this massive party all the time. Is that kind of what conventions are like?
It is true. It is true. There's that one. I think the one that fits that description the best is Katsucon in like DC, a little bit outside DC.
Right.
I
Okay.
think. And that is exactly what it is. I've only been once, but it's basically in this big hotel room, which is called the Gaylord.
Cool.
Which
Yeah.
everyone makes jokes about.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's always a raffle of like who can get Gaylord hotel tickets. Or,
Really?
booked
Wow.
rooms. Yes, and it's this huge, massive hotel with basically the con is in the middle of the hotel, so you're hanging out in the con in cosplay, and you look up and you're just surrounded by hotel rooms, like balconies. And by like the end of the con day, you like go into the different rooms, and like half of these rooms have like big parties, that not everyone
Wow.
can fit in. It's known as the party con for sure. It's a lot.
Wow. Is that something that you're Is that something that you're kind of into personally? It's like, yeah, dude, I love partying, just going out and having drinks with mates. Or are you kind of like, my body is a temple. I will never put liquor down my throat. What kind of person are you in that regard?
Well, in the U.S., I can't legally drink yet because I'm only
right.
20, and the
Right.
drinking age is 21. Yeah, yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
at least in the
you
US,
have
I
not
haven't like
you haven't
done that.
touched a drop of alcohol because you're a upstanding
Oh, I
citizen.
have.
No,
When I was
don't
in
say
Europe.
that to
In
anyone
Europe.
just yet.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's fine,
No.
right?
In Europe, in Europe.
Of
I did
course.
in Europe. Yeah, yeah. So I had the experience, but I haven't had like the classic like party Katsucon experience. So maybe next year.
Next
Yeah,
year.
for sure.
Okay, I see how it is. No, that's
Yeah.
fair. So, in regards to that, because we know the drinking age, that's 21 in America. For us in Australia,
Yeah,
it's 18, so we can do a little bit more
Wow.
from a bit of an early age. We're absolutely responsible, 100%. Yeah, we get into no trouble from 18.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, I believe you. Yeah.
But what's just in that regard, just out of curiosity, because between 18 and 21, it's 3 years. For some people, that's a long time. For some people, that flies by really quickly. But has that, I guess, prevented you or impacted the way that you yourself can do business? Because in America, you're technically underage for a few things. Does that like prevent you from doing stuff like signing brand deals or being able to travel by yourself or anything like that?
It actually has. Yeah, luckily I was an adult by the time most of the brand deals started happening. But I do remember a brand reached out to me when I was 17 to like promote a product, and I couldn't because I was only 17.
Yeah.
And so I remember like emailing them. This was before I was like under any agency, and I was like, "Hey, can you reach out to me on October 12th? That's my birthday." Like,
did they get back
I'll
to you?
be an adult then. They didn't.
Oh,
But that's okay.
damn, yeah.
It's all right.
That's
You
right.
know what?
that they missed their chance. They missed their chance.
They missed their chance. It's all good. But there's a lot of parties and raves that happen after cons here that are 21 plus that I've been invited to, that I have to turn down essentially or get like special permission for in order to attend because I'm not 21 yet. So that's always it's a bit of a hassle. It's a difficult experience, but you know what? I have like half a year left. Actually, exactly half a year.
Half a year left.
Yeah.
Talk to you in 6 months.
it's my
Like,
half
Gale,
birthday
let's
today.
go. It's your birthday. Start going on the raves, my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
So at this point in
Exactly.
time, obviously let's say your career in cosplay has, it's gotten off to a great kickstart. You've gotten opportunities to fly overseas, guest at certain conventions, and obviously there's things which you have to wait a little bit for. But on that note, where you are currently, do you have any, at this point in time, goals that you're aiming for, or a certain level of, notoriety you want to be known for, or are there any, I guess in this case, any cosplay goals or dream costumes and stuff that you are aiming for that you've got in mind right now?
Honestly, my biggest goal is to just sort of more establish the cosplay scene in New York.
Okay.
So I'm trying to meet with like a lot more cosplayers here. Ideally, I would like to open a studio once I graduate to just sort of, have more of a home base because apartments in New York are so tiny. So
Yeah.
having like a dedicated studio space to make projects and stuff would be fantastic. Yeah, because I don't really have a lot of room to do complicated builds. So that's a dream for me is to do more like EVA foam, Warblood, just start working and making more things would be like that would be awesome.
Yeah. So everything's kind of done
That's the
from
goal.
the comfort of a small apartment somewhere in the center of New York, is it?
Yeah. No, for sure.
That's honestly really, if anything, enthralling and motivating to hear because, I think a lot of people are probably in a similar position to you around the world where, hey, look, we don't have a lot of money. We don't have a lot of space. We're just, doing the best with what we have, with what we can.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's people out there, and I know friends is like, yeah, I've got dedicated cosplay rooms. I put my sewing stuff here.
Absolutely.
My 3D printer's in there. I don't have to worry about making noise. I'm like, bro, this is my office
Whoa.
space and my storage room at the same time, and I shoot TikToks in here. But for yourself, because TikTok's your main platform, the short video content, is that all quite kind of literally done from a small room that you kind of live in?
Yeah, I started, going with friends. We sort of meeting up like in the city and filming content like in the city rather than just like in the comfort of our rooms, which has been so motivating to just create, like more videos and do more cosplays, and it's been very fun. Yeah, but everything else has been done in like the tiniest little space in my little studio apartment.
Yeah,
So
wow.
yeah.
So that's really cool. It sounds like, if you don't mind me asking, because it sounds like TikTok obviously is huge where you guys are at the moment now, and that seems to be
Yes.
the primary platform for a lot of people. Is that kind of where you feel a lot of, I guess, your attention goes or comes from, or that you're focusing into more the TikTok space more so than stuff like Instagram or YouTube? Do you feel like TikTok's kind of like the place to be at the moment for yourself?
Honestly, it was the place to be for the longest time, and it's still my largest platform and has like the biggest reach.
Mm.
But I do prefer platforms like YouTube Shorts and then Instagram, because I think that the community that I build on there is a lot stronger than on TikTok.
Mm.
Because of like it for in the case of Instagram, having like stories has been very like beneficial and just getting to talk to my followers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Instagram more in that regard, but in terms of like my largest audience, it's still TikTok. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's really cool. So when you guys go out and collaborate, because when I was, let's say, growing up doing costumes and stuff, TikTok wasn't a platform, Instagram wasn't a platform. Some of us were using Facebook pages at some point in
Right.
time. You're like, Jeremy, how old are you? Jesus. Uh, but so what we did is similar things. We go out in costumes, we go out location shooting, and we try to take fancy
Yeah.
pictures. In the streets or down an alleyway or something, and we just use the pictures or the photos, but obviously video's more of a thing nowadays. But
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you guys going out now, you're meeting up with friends, doing content together, is it mostly all, I guess in this case, all video content, or do you guys do like photo shoots, or what's the go there?
We usually do both at once. So we reach out to photographer and we go and we do like a photo shoot, and then at the photo shoot location we'll like set up a tripod, and then once like the photographer is like done with their work, we make our like video content. So it's like kind of two in one.
Two in
Yeah.
one. No, that's really cool. And you and the photographers are all good mates, or there's like an
Yeah.
exchange, you have to pay each other, or there's like, oh, we'll promote you, you promote me, or what's usually the situation there? Because it obviously differs between people. Some photographers like, oh, the upfront payment of XYZ, or cosplayer XYZ payment upfront for this. What's usually the
Yeah.
arrangement do you have for yourself and your friends there?
Ooh, it really depends. For example, if like we like one of the photographers that me and my friends shoot with,
Mm.
is more new to photography, so they're kind of using like cosplay as to increase their portfolio. So
Okay.
when it's that situation, then usually like there's no like pay. But in other cases with other photographers, like we all sort of like set up like an Instagram like group chat, and we're like, all right, like let's split it this way, or we'll take you out to dinner. But always in some form, making sure that like it comes back around to the photographer. So
That's
yeah.
nice. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's really cool. It's really interesting because over time, people come into the community. They say, "Wow, this is really cool. This is really fun," and they establish
Yeah.
themselves. But over time, it seems to be a trend as you get into your mid late 20s, early 30s. Like, oh, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
kind of done with this part of my life, and I've definitely met people who they've come into the scene, they've left, then you meet more people, and that cycle kind of goes around, and
Yeah.
you just kind of have to constantly talk to people and meet people in that way. How have you
Yeah.
yourself found as someone who apparently doesn't was not naturally popular with people? I still find that a bit hard to believe. You're very charming.
Really?
Yeah, but
Oh,
but, but
okay.
but for somebody like yourself, how has it been meeting people? Talking to people for the first time, or are you the person who goes up and approaches them and says, "Oh my god, your costume's amazing," or are you the person who kind of, oh, they come up and talk to me, or we get invited through professional events and we meet that way? How do you kind of find yourself when it comes to meeting people?
Yeah, I've tried to put myself out there more. I challenged myself on TikTok. When you make a new mutual, you can see like their DM, and basically just saying like, say hi to XYZ.
Yeah.
And I challenged myself to always send a message to my new mutuals, be like, hey, I love your cosplay so much, or just sort of like initiate that conversation. And at cons, it's harder for me because I'm shy. But usually I don't go to cons alone. So I'm like, with a friend or like with a mutual. And I can like be like, oh, they're so cool, I want to say hi. And then usually my friend will be like go like,
say hi, do it.
What are you waiting for? Yeah, and then I'll be like, you're right. Like, and so and then 9 times out of 10 I like muster the courage to
And
be social
for that,
and it works. Yeah.
For that 10th time out of 10, what stops you? Is it like, oh no, I can't, they're too famous, or they're too good looking, or they're too cool,
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, it's the little ounce of like confidence that I still need to like grow.
You get
We'll get there.
That's really cool. So for anyone who doesn't know, and I repeat this probably every episode, I work as a social skills coach with introverts, especially cosplayers and geeks. To same thing, help put themselves out there, but it's the same thing that whenever I talk to a new client, it's always the same thing. It's like, oh, am I going to look weird? Am I going to look creepy by talking to this person? Am I going to be that guy? And what Gail has said here is a really, really good approach. I really like the challenge that you put for yourself, where it's like, hey, a new mutual that we've got on social media, just reach out, say, hey, I like your stuff. Thanks for adding me. Hoped we can catch up sometime. And
yeah, exactly.
Something like that is a really effective method of getting to meet people, because as you can see, even someone as amazing and talented as Gail still gets really shy when it comes to talking to people, and that's a very human thing, right? It's nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever. But just getting that ball rolling of, I've talked to this person a little bit online, so when you do get to see them in person, it's like, oh, I've already had one conversation with them.
Yeah,
they can kind of know who I am. And I really like that you go along with a friend. Is it the same friend each time who's like, no, this is my homie, that's my guy who's gonna push me forward?
It's usually the same, similar group usually.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that you've got such a a tight knit group like that who is encouraging the people who's like, no, go forward, go do it. You've got this. You've probably got those kinds of friends too, and I know I've had them as well. And you go to a con together, or you go to an event together, music concert, or go out shopping or whatever it is, and there are interesting people, or there is someone you're kind of curious to talk to, and you're like, oh, I kind of want to talk to them, but the friend is probably similar. They're like, oh yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of happy just being just us. Just I'm happy to stay with my group. And there's nothing wrong with that if you want to stay to your group, but as someone like yourself who's obviously, hey, I want to meet people, I want to see who else is out there, I want to network with all these other cool people. I think it's nice to have people who support you in that way. They really want to give you that little push. What do you think has been the most, I won't say embarrassing, but what do you think has been the most like nerve-wracking kind of interaction that you have had in that case, which has either gone well or hasn't gone well? I'm sure you've got a cool story behind just meeting someone for the first time.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. In terms of cosplay, like cosplayers.
Oh, it could be like a famous cosplayer, or just a cool mutual, or maybe like a special guest of, I don't know, a TV actor or something who you've had a cool interaction with.
Ooh, I did have a really cool interaction with Anne Yatko, the voice for the Raiden Shogun, the English voice.
Okay.
And it was at KatsuCon. And I was just with my friends, and I believe I think they're called like the handler for like the VAs. That came up to me and was like, and Yatko wants to meet you. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. Like,
what were you wearing at the time?
I was cosplaying Alhaitham from Genshin.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, yeah. And I was just like, in the like exhibition hall, like, waiting around, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was like, wow, I feel so cool.
What was that interaction like? And, was it just like a normal chat, or was it?
It was so normal. I think that's the thing that a lot of people like tend to forget sometimes with a lot of like VAs or cosplayers or any sort of like person with a big like, I guess, like influencer following, is that like they're we're all the same, you know. They're just like cool people, you know. So chatting with them, it felt just like meeting anyone else, except knowing that they're this extremely talented individual, and yeah, it was really pleasant. So
That's really
it
cool.
was a good time.
There's nothing better than hearing like, oh, what's this celebrity like? And they're like, they're cool. They're really nice to chat to. So I think that's a really
Yeah,
cool thing to learn about these kinds of people. It's good to hear people that you meet who are famous. They've got a following. They are just regular cool people in real life. So that's kind of nice to hear,
yeah.
because there's nothing worse than hearing about, oh wow, this cool actor or this cool celebrity ended up being a complete jerk in real life, and that sucked.
Oh,
So, but
yeah.
that being said, you yourself have with your fans or your followers, you've probably met a bunch of them in real life. Some of them have been, most of them are probably fantastic people to speak to. But have there been any, let's say, memorable fan encounters which kind of really stick out to you, in a good or a bad way? Don't need to name any names, but what kind of sticks out to you?
I think one that stuck out to me that was like, whoa, like it was it was surprising. I wouldn't necessarily it wasn't negative or positive. It was just like, whoa. Was I had a group of people come up to me, and they wanted me to sign their face, and I was like, oh, okay, like with a Sharpie, and I'm like, okay,
Right.
and they're like, they wanted to tattoo it.
On their face.
So I said no. Yeah, and I said no. Obviously, I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I did sign their arm instead. I don't know if they got it tattooed or not. But it was pretty crazy. That was definitely. I was never expecting someone
So
to want to
someone
tattoo
out there has
my
tattooed
name on their face.
your name on their face. That's I'm trying to think of something that's a bigger compliment, saying like, I like you so much. You're gonna be a part of me forever. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I was like, nothing could have prepared me for like what they were gonna say.
that being said, for
Yeah.
yourself as well, is there anybody that you feel like I would love to meet or even collaborate with this person in particular? Do you have any kind of idols or people that you look up to yourself in that regard?
I really, really look up to the cosplayer Karina, like Karina Causer. I believe like who lives in China. Because like she's Ukrainian and I have like Ukrainian ancestry, and she's also like a mother and has been through just so much, and like through it all is just this like incredible cosplayer, and is always so uplifting to her fans and
Yeah.
offers them such like a safe space, and just through her interactions with her like followers, through her like just being a mother, all of those things, I admire her a lot, and I would you know I'd love to meet her. Collaborate with her would be insane, but just meeting her alone would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think it's nice that the things that you mentioned, because I honestly will never forget this interaction I had with some friends a while ago. I definitely had good influences and bad influences, as we all do, growing up. But especially in the
Yeah.
cosplay scene, where cosplay is one of those hobbies in which it is a thing which can be a bit vain, because it is based about our looks, it is based about how we present ourselves, and
Right.
that is how it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the value I think I had with some friends is they put, this person is so good looking, they are royalty, they are queens and kings to me, and anyone who wasn't kind of on that level, they're like, oh, they're not worth as much to me, and I'm like, oh, that's a bit gross. Yeah, but
Yeah.
the reason I
Gosh.
say that is because I said, who would you like to collaborate with, and you mentioned Karina, which
Yeah.
I don't know them personally, but the things that you mentioned that stuck out was like, they're this person who has gone through so much, they're so resilient, they're this positive, uplifting person, and that was the
Yeah.
value that you put as, that's what I admire the most. And to me, that shows like, oh, those are Gail's values too. Wow, this is amazing. Green flag of a person.
Thank you.
But for yourself, and the reason I bring this up is for yourself, who's someone who has been doing cosplay for fun. There's someone who, if anything, stumbled across a bit of notoriety and people kind of see your stuff. You've obviously got a bit of an influence with the people who follow you and watch you and they're fans of you. But what is something, or what are some values that you try to promote with yourself as a person, that you try to push as good values towards the people who do follow you?
I think the biggest one is self-confidence, because that's something that I used to struggle so much with, and found sort of like I overcame a lot of my insecurities through cosplay. So it's like I see a lot of my following is younger than me. Like I think between ages like 16 to 18 is like around the range of most of my followers. And all the time I see them comment things like, "Oh, I could never do that," or "I wish I was attractive so I could cosplay." Like all of this, and I could just tell that like social media is like wearing these people down, and it's so sad to see, because that's not what cosplay is about. It's not about like fitting the beauty standard. Like it should never be about that. It's
Yeah.
about dressing up and having fun as a character. So I think the number one thing is like when you cosplay, like the only person you can compare yourself to is yourself from the past, kind of thing. Like that's the biggest one, and just sort of it's about becoming more self confident and you know learning to love yourself more than like it being like a beauty pageant. So yeah.
Everyone enshrine that quote from Gale in 2024. You heard what he said. It's just the only person you're comparing yourself to is the you from yesterday. Definitely words to live by. Something I definitely love pushing as well. But for yourself, because I know you mentioned as well, obviously with TikTok, it's very much this thing where we swipe, we leave a comment, we swipe, leave a comment, and we'll follow our favorite creators and see what they get up to. Something like Instagram, like you mentioned before, you get stories, you get to share a little bit more about yourself and your life and what you get up to. With content, obviously, it can be whatever we want it to be. It can be a performative thing, it can be a real thing, but for yourself, you're obviously a real person. You're someone who is, you want to just be yourself. You want to be as true to yourself as you possibly can. How do you yourself try to present that to your audiences versus, obviously on TikTok, we're dancing, we're lip syncing, we're doing all these things, which is, you're putting on a show. It's part of what you do. But in what way do you feel like you try to, connect with your audiences to, be real with your community? How do you try to express that?
Honestly, it's harder not to be real for me. Like, I think it's exhausting to put on this like persona. I mean, if anyone's played the Genshin quests, like I think the whole like Farina arc, like that. I think that sums it up. Is like it's exhausting trying to be someone else, and people can tell. Whether they know it like consciously or subconsciously, like it's there when you can see that someone isn't like it seems very robotic. I think, and so I guess I just it comes naturally to just sort of like I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. Of course it's still like it is social media, so I do show myself when I'm happy. I show myself when I'm having a good time. And I'll still be vulnerable when I'm like, oh, guys, like I had a rough week, But, it's I'd like to be open about those feelings too, because it's important that people do know that it's like real.
Yeah.
I'm no different than like any other cosplayer. So.
In that way, do you feel like that's something that you've ever in your time struggled with a little bit in terms of I need to be this certain person, or I need to have this particular identity online, where you feel like, oh, okay, even if I have to put on a bit of a mask or something, is that something that you've ever struggled with? Or do you feel like, being true to yourself and presenting this real person has always been something that's kind of come naturally to you?
I think a little bit of both. I think I often felt the need to, I guess, like over exaggerate my own personality. Not so much anymore. Now I'm chilling. But in the past, like especially when I cosplayed Leorio a lot, I would try to like over exaggerate my personality. So it's like, oh, people know me as a kind person. I have to be the kindest I can possibly be and respond to every single DM. Like extreme levels of like like I would sort of sacrifice my well-being to sort of maintain this like the kind things that people would say about me. But it's like that's too much. You have to like protect yourself a little bit. So now I think I found a better balance now. So yeah, for sure.
That's really cool. I think it's a really good thing that you've managed to realize these things, about yourself through yourself just by doing these things, because it's definitely one thing for someone to have that told to them, saying, "Oh, dude, are you okay? Are you kind of putting yourself out there a little bit too much?" But it's something that it seems like it's definitely come a bit more natural to you. Now, just on that matter, do you feel like that there's anything that a lot of people... I know you mentioned before, some people put celebrities or people with a big following up on pedestals, and I definitely know a few people like that in my circle who do that, and I'm like, dude, they're just people. Just have a chat with them.
Yeah.
But obviously, for someone like yourself, you have to respond to every DM. With having a big following comes a big degree of people wanting to talk to you, or people wanting to approach you, or people wanting to do collabs, or people wanting to have a bit of your time, which is yours. So you do what you want with it. But what do you think is something to you that you kind of understand now that people misconceive about someone with a big following quite a bit? What's something that you feel like they probably don't understand it, and they get wrong from your experience?
I think sort of similar to what you just said, but I think a lot of people have this, they sort of a sort of personality onto like people with big followings. So, I think this happens with like a lot of creators where people assume that they're like, almost like dolls in a sense, like,
Right.
oh, you should cosplay this character, do this. It's like people become very demanding of like tasks of like bigger creators, because they begin to like not see us as like normal people like them, and it's like we're just we're all the same. So I think in that regard it can get like quite, it's overwhelming, because then people will demand you do all of these like cosplays, and it's like, whoa, bro, like I'm a like a university kid in New York, like like that's who I am first, like I'll get there, but give me some time. So yeah, that's definitely one thing. Yeah.
How have you found yourself managing that process? Because it was something I've learnt myself just from talking to some friends who have got a following which is a lot bigger than my own. But they said, look, I have this inbox full of messages I simply just cannot reply to. And I didn't think that was possible, but I looked at the Instagram message box. I said, Jeremy, look at this. I'm like, it literally has been sitting at the 99 plus thing, and I said, okay, that's a lot bigger. And then they said, oh, so look at this. So they go into like, in the Instagram, there's like a primary, a general, and a requests or something.
Yes, yeah.
And that requests thing is in the thousands. I'm like, holy crap. And it is like that. It's simply not possible to reply to every DM or reply to every reaction or something like that. How have you yourself, I don't know what your inbox is like, I'm not saying, hey, let's take a peek at it, but how have you found yourself in managing those levels of I guess discussions with people? Because there's obviously ones with, you want to chat with close friends, you want to chat with any companies wanting to reach out, and obviously have some fan interaction as well. But how have you yourself managed to manage that so far yourself?
Yeah, so I used to reply to everything, like everything, which I don't recommend. Like, it was exhausting. I would like make my sister start answering DMs. I'd be like, all right, just when they compliment you, say thank you, and this is what you say. Like, I'd put her to work.
Yeah, right.
To make sure to answer all my DMs. And now, when people have questions, like, how'd you do this cosplay? And like, I have the time and space to respond, then I absolutely will. I also love like replying to like when people make fan art or when they make edits and stuff.
That's cute.
That to me is like the most like flattering thing.
Yeah.
Like they took time out of their day to like make these things with me in mind. It's like, so I try my best to respond to all of those. But then like other things, some people send some interesting DMs, to which I try to, just leave it alone.
Yep.
I didn't see it, like, because, it can be a lot, just mentally.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess for yourself now, it's just a reply when you can, but you don't see it as like an obligation to say, I need to reply to every single person.
Yeah, because I don't think it would be possible, or if it were possible, then I wouldn't have much free time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm trying to manage correctly. I want to, like, oftentimes like I try to avoid like my like the general chat and more so just new replies so that I can give like everyone like a chance to sort of like interact with them. Um, yeah, there's also like a sense of distance that I need to maintain that I didn't maintain in the past, and
Right.
it allowed for a lot of people becoming very invasive or then sort of coming up with like very parasocial relationships with me.
Right.
So now I try to like have some distance while also letting like my followers know that I am grateful for them and I am super like glad that we're sort of in this community, without them like, you know, becoming like too invasive of my like
Yeah.
personal life. Yeah.
That's cool. Oh, I'm glad that you've kind of managed to, realize that and create that separation for yourself, just in a personal standard. Have there been any times, I suppose, in which you've, I guess, felt overwhelmed by everything, and then you said, "Look, I just need to take a break," or you've thought about just stopping altogether? Have that side ever gotten to you at all?
I think it does sometimes, especially when there are things outside of cosplay that are sort of out of my control, whether it's like personal life stuff or, for example, like whether it's like mental health related or if it's like my finals for like school, things that sort of become overwhelming. My first sort of like, thoughts are like, okay, like I just like it makes me dizzy to like open Instagram right now.
Yeah.
I need to just put it down. And sometimes those negative thoughts can like I don't know very very much weigh me down. So the first the first thing I try to do is like put my phone down and like go touch grass, literally like go on a walk, go to a park, something like that. Do something for myself.
Yeah.
It's too easy to become like chronically online. So I'm trying to like break from that a little bit, especially when like life gets chaotic.
Yeah. For yourself, just personally as well, what do you find are some things that you enjoy doing outside of posting stuff or being online? What's the equivalent of touching grass and helping you reset? And what are some of your favorite things to do to help unwind?
I'm a really big fan of like the cafe scene in New York. So I
cool.
oftentimes like yeah, it's really fun, There's so many like new like themed cafes and just like so many fun things to do. And it's like it does cost money, but I try to like have a little bit of budget aside, like this is my cafe budget. And when I have a free day, I'll like, put on my little backpack and like a little kid, I'm like I'm going to go to a cafe today and
just open up Google Maps and find one that's like, oh, I haven't been to that one before. Yeah. That's really cool.
Exactly. I have like Google Maps, like all the saved locations,
That's ones to check out. That's really nice.
Yeah.
So I think you'd be pretty excited for when you do get to come to Sydney later this year, because
yes, I can't wait.
You said you visited Australia when you were a little kid, traveling with your family. Yeah. But what do you think are you looking forward to most about coming to Smash later this year?
Honestly, it's just Australia is like the furthest place from the US essentially. Like it's the other side of the world. Yeah. So just seeing like experiencing like Sydney as an adult will be like fantastic. Because I traveled, most of my travels were from when I was a kid, and my parents were in charge of like scheduling and activities and stuff, but being able to sort of explore the city on my own and like see it with new eyes, also like a decade later, like so much has changed. It'll be such like a new experience. I can't wait. I'm very excited about food. I'm gonna say that.
There we go. That's cool. That's a good one. There's a good cafe culture in Sydney too, so I think you're gonna go a bit ballistic over that.
Yes.
But I just also realised, because in Australia you'll be of legal age, so it's like, wow, we can grab a beer. It's great.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. I'll definitely try that. There's one thing I remember from when I was little. It's the drinking culture.
Yeah, that's
I remember.
That's the thing. Look,
I
like
remember
I said,
walking,
and we are 100% responsible. But but for yourself, just as a thought, is this like, wow, I kind of really want to try this food or this particular drink. Is there anything that kind of comes to mind?
Was it Tim Tams? Is that what they like?
Yep, the Tim Tams.
I miss those. I want to have those again.
Actually, it's gonna be good
weather. Vegemite. I'm a big fan.
Really? Oh, Vegemite. Really?
Yeah.
I'm gobsmacked. I've never heard someone from overseas been like, yeah, Vegemite, that stuff fucking slaps. Wow. When did, so you
I
had
love
it? You had it when you were a kid back in Australia, did you?
Yeah, yeah, I was introduced to it when I was in New Zealand, actually.
Yeah, wow.
When I first had it, I didn't know what it was. So I remember we were at it was like a hotel or something, and I was with my family. And I saw it, like, it was there, and I was like, I'm gonna try this. So I put it with peanut butter. Hated it. I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
Like,
yep.
I thought it was like jam,
Yep.
Like, so I was like, my peanut butter and jelly, and I was like, oh.
Peanut butter and
then I
Vegemite.
tried it later.
Yep. And what did you try it with the next time?
No. Oh, no, I don't. I still remember it in my mouth. Like, that's how much it, like, influenced me.
Wow. Okay.
Then I tried it with, like, butter, like
Mhm.
butter, Vegemite, when I was, like, in New Zealand with my family. And then since then, I was like, wow, like, this is revolutionary. I loved it.
I'm
10-year-old
glad
me.
you got what it was supposed to be eaten like. I think that's the big misconception people have. Look, any Vegemite haters out there, listen up. Gail had it the right way, okay? Because I think a big misconception is people have it like it's a sweet spread. Like, they eat it out of the jar like Nutella or something, and that's just suicide. You don't do that, okay?
Oh my gosh, no. It's small amounts, yeah.
Small amount with butter on bread. It's divine.
Yes.
Thank you. You heard it from here. Americans think it's good. It's confirmed. It is.
Yeah, try it. Try it, everyone. Try it.
Oh, and you mentioned Tim Tams as well. That's our like national biscuit.
Yes.
You will be in Sydney for the good weather, where you can actually try a Tim Tam Slam. Have you had that before?
No. Okay. What is this?
It's basically you get either typically hot chocolate. You can do it with coffee, but you bite off both ends of it, right? And you know how the inside is like this nougat.
Okay.
You bite off both ends, and then you put the Tim Tam just into the drink, and you can drink the hot chocolate through the Tim Tam.
Oh my gosh, crazy!
It is amazing.
I will absolutely be doing this.
Yeah, if you like chocolate, you're gonna love that. So that's a pretty cool thing.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Do you know anything about what we'll do a little bit of a plug now. Do you know what like your duties are that you're gonna be doing at Smash? You're gonna be judging. You're gonna be doing paneling. What's kind of your schedule, I suppose?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be paneling, and I think I'll have a booth where I'll be able to sell like I have like Photocards. I've been having this like new sort of idea. I thought it'd be really fun because I have a lot of friends who are interested in K-pop, and I was observing it, and the Photocard idea to me really struck me. I was like, this would be perfect for cosplayers.
Yeah.
Like imagine trading them at cons, having albums. Like it's just I was like, this needs to happen. So I started making my own Photocards, with the hopes that like other cosplayers would begin to do it too.
Yeah.
And so I have like mystery packs of Photocards.
That's cute.
And I'm definitely gonna bring a bunch with me to SmashCon because I think that would be so fun.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Just,
So they're gonna be like business card size, like a Polaroid size, or what's kind of the objective?
There's a very specific format for like Photocards. I think it's like, let's see. I think it's like, it's kind of like a wide business card.
A wide business card. So
Yeah,
it's more like a square or like a.
It's still rectangle. It's like I'm trying to do the conversions because I have it in inches. But
no, that's right. Do it in
like
inches. I'll do it in my brain for
centimeters.
centimeters. Yeah.
I think. Well, no. I think for centimeters it's 85 by 50. No, millimeters.
Millimeters. Yep.
85 by 55 millimeters.
It's like 80.
So it's like.
Or
like 2.5.
It's slightly
3.5 inches.
It's slightly wider than a regular business card, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay,
exactly.
Interesting. No, that's cool. If anything, I'm glad because Photocards. Ever since you see K-pop albums, people are trading them. They're enshrining them in like in a sleeve. Anyone who want to get your
they're fun to decorate.
Yeah, get your limited edition Gale Photocards, everybody. Smash is coming around.
Yes. Yes.
It's really funny.
Stop by.
And I say this before Instagram, social media, TikTok was a thing. We just had like phone calls and Facebook pages and whatever, right? What a lot of people used to do back way when I'm talking like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they had something similar to Photocards. I don't know if you've heard of this because it might be a little bit, I'll say, beyond your time, but they had things literally called Coscards. Where it was, it's literally just a business card, and there was no right or wrong way to do it. So on one side it'd be, I don't know, maybe one cool photo, or they put like a collaboration of their 3 favorite costumes or something, And then on the back they put their details, like their social media details of what existed.
Oh,
So, but nowadays it's very much like
essentially the same thing.
it's very similar, yeah. But obviously nowadays it's
Yeah.
like there's no need for them because it's like, oh, cool, like you seem like a cool person. Let's swap Instagrams, and the card kind of becomes obsolete at that point. But I really like where you're going with the photo cards because that's very unique. It's very like, oh look, take me in my best form. My best face is on today, and you can keep it and trade it. That's really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who is going to Smash, what kind of things will you be doing at Smash? You're going to have like a table or do a panel about something to do with TikTok? What's your schedule at the moment for Smash?
Yeah, so from the details that I know so far, there's going to be a meet and greet section. There may be a panel and some type of booth, so I can sell like the photo cards and like prints and stuff, which I'm excited for. But for the most part, details are still sort of like being discussed. But they'll definitely like come to light soon, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Either way, no matter what happens, I look forward to meeting everyone.
Oh, that's awesome. And just last couple little things, because oh my god, we've kind of get to that hour already. Has it felt like an hour that we've been chatting for? It's like
no, it's gone so quick.
Yeah, it has. Well, I'm glad because it just means that the conversation's been pretty nice and fun. So that's cool. But just for anybody who like I'm just gonna say it this way: for anyone who is an aspiring cosplayer or is looking to grow as a creator on the online space. And maybe they've, from humble beginnings like you, where it's just, hey, I'm just a person having fun with it. What would be your advice to people like that who is wanting to kind of grow?
I think the biggest advice I have is don't cosplay just for the money, Like, don't have your main motivation for cosplay be, like, fame or money. I think the motivation to cosplay should come from your passion to cosplay. And I think that excitement and that passion and that sort of energy that you bring to your platform is what will attract people to you. So be as genuine to yourself as you can be. And I think the other thing too is to find some sort of niche. So whether that's you cosplay only a specific type of character, or you dance in cosplay, find something that you're comfortable doing that you can do for a while. Just sort of it'll help bring people to your profile because they'll sort of look forward to those sort of themed videos. That's the other thing too. But most importantly, just have fun cosplaying and being another character for a little bit. So that's the biggest thing.
That's awesome. Love that. That's beautiful. Oh, poetic, even. Wonderful. Great. Now, because we are going to see Gale at Smash, and like we mentioned as well, we're also going to see DJ Haru, which we'll have a chat with her another time. But we're at the stage in which there's one more cosplay guest to announce at Smash, who's also going to be attending with Gale. So, Gail, would you like to do the honors? Who else will we be seeing at Sydney Smash in a few months' time?
Yes. Yeah, well, it's the very, very talented Kyo, who's visiting all the way from Singapore. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, so Kyo, if you don't know, I've got the little professional blurb here. So Kyo's a professional full-time cosplayer with over 10 years of experience who's been capturing hearts with her passion and accuracy of cosplays. You might have seen her doing things from Overwatch, Apex, and Genshin Impact, spreading joy to people all over the world with it. So go check out Kyo's stuff. I'll put more links and stuff down below. But, they're going to be one of the special guests who's going to be... I think you guys are doing a collab of some kind with Smash at some stage together, but I don't know the details either, honestly. So that's really cool.
No, it'll be very exciting. Can't wait.
Absolutely. And Gail, just one last thing, I suppose, for anybody listening in, do you want to give a little plug of your socials and, I guess, whatever message you want to give before you meet them in July?
Yeah. So my TikTok is allthepotsandpans, and then my Instagram is allthepotsandpans.cos, and those are all my usernames for everything else. All the Pots and Pans on X, all the Pots and Pans on YouTube Shorts, all that stuff. And I can't wait to meet all of you guys. I'm very grateful for your support, and bring me Vegemite or something.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yes, thank you.
And look, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today. I look forward to catching up with you if we get the chance to. But
Likewise. Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. Excited to see Gail in Sydney. Everyone who has tuned in today, thanks very much for listening. And if you come to Smash, please do. And if you're not, please do. It's one of our best conventions.
Yes,
the best.
Go to Smash.
Go to Smash.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. But yeah, thanks for listening in this week. Thanks again for tuning in. I've got more cool things coming around. So thanks everyone who has continued to support this podcast up till now. Again, thanks Gail very much for joining us. And we will see you next week. So let's say bye. Bye everybody.
Bye.